Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Sportsocology Show. I'm your host, Bill Knutson, and I'm ready today, Saturday, May 3rd, 2014. I hope everything's great wherever you might be. Weather's beautiful here in Atlanta. Get out and enjoy the weekend. Today, of course, I'm going to talk a lot about the NBA playoffs. We've got 3 Game 7s later on this afternoon and all night long. And tomorrow, we've got a couple of Game 7s. And we almost had an additional Game 7 that almost happened, but it ended on a clutch 3 right at the buzzer, which I'll talk about a little bit later on. I'm also going to talk some about the NFL draft. I'm not going to talk about all 32 teams. It would take forever. Maybe just the top 10 and, of course, my New York Giants, who are picking at 12. And just a quick note, there's a big fight tonight, if you want to call it that. You know, the Mayweather-Maidana fight. And Maidana, you know, he's a good fighter. You know, he's fought some good people, but, you know, the last few people have gotten on, you know, in commercials and whatever and said they were going to be the ones to knock out Mayweather, and of course none of them did because no one's ever beaten Mayweather. And just a quick note on it, I am not a fan of Floyd Mayweather. I would love to see, you know, his butt get whipped tonight. I would love to see him get counted out, but it's not going to happen. My prediction, most likely, that Mayweather will win by a unanimous decision, because that seems to be the way he wins a lot of his fights lately. So that will be my official prediction. But if it doesn't happen that way, I'll say a late round stoppage. Maybe any time from the 9th round on. That Mayweather will just be too quick and wear Maidana down and possibly stop him in the late rounds. But more likely, Mayweather will win by a unanimous decision, which I'll be disappointed, but not surprised. I'm hoping Maidana kicks his butt. But anyway, moving on to the NBA playoffs. Since I'm in Atlanta, my times will be Eastern time, so if you're listening outside of Eastern time, make the adjustments accordingly. The first Game 7 today is the Hawks and the Pacers at 5:30 Eastern time. Now, as you may know, I picked the Pacers to win in no more than 6 games, you know, maybe even win in 5. I thought they were going to put it together once the playoffs started, but I don't know if they're just playing badly, which I think they are, you know, inconsistently, kind of badly, or the Hawks are playing well. I don't know. They might be playing a little bit better than I anticipated, and the Pacers not nearly as well as I anticipated. But I'll give the Hawks some credit. They pushed it to a Game 7, you know, because the Pacers, I don't know what happened to them. Hibbert, the last 2 games, literally has done nothing. 2 games ago, no points, no rebounds. Game the other day, no points. I don't know how that can happen when you're 7'2", but they need to sit his behind on the bench, get the backup in, and get some production, so the Hawks don't come in there and knock the Pacers out. Percentage-wise, in the history of the NBA, Game 7s are won by the home team 80% of the time. So obviously that gives a big edge to the Pacers. As I picked the Pacers to win the series in no more than 6, obviously I will pick the Pacers to win tonight and send the Hawks back down here to Atlanta. So I'll say the Pacers win the Game 7 tonight. At 8 o'clock, again Eastern time, Grizzlies and the Thunder. Thunder stepped up big on the road in Game 6 the other night, on the verge of elimination. The Grizzlies at home could have closed them out. Not only did they not close them out, but Durant showed what he's capable of doing after, I think, being insulted with the Mr. Unreliable headline in his hometown Oklahoman paper. He says it didn't bother him. He didn't pay too much attention to it. I don't believe that for a second. And then his mother got on and tweeted that he is reliable and whatever. Parents need to stay out of this. Kevin Durant is a grown man, not a little boy. We don't care what the mothers, the fathers, brothers, sisters, aunts, uncles, cousins think. So all of you just stay out of the public. Kevin Durant's a big boy. He'll be able to handle this. And obviously, he came through big time the other night on the road in Game 6 to force the Game 7 at home for the Thunder tonight. I thought the Thunder would win in 6 games. So obviously I'm going to pick the Thunder to win Game 7 tonight. I think I picked them in 6. I might have said 7. But I did pick the Thunder not only to win this, but to win it all. So I'm picking the Thunder to eliminate the Grizzlies in the second Game 7 tonight. And the late night game, which is 10:30 here in the Eastern Time Zone, it's the Warriors and the Clippers. The Warriors, like the Grizzlies, had Game 6 at home with a chance to eliminate the Clippers and couldn't get it done. It was a great competitive game. I'm sorry, the Warriors were at home on the verge of elimination and got the job done at home in a very loud, wild arena, barely edging out the Clippers 100-99 to stay alive and force the Game 7 in LA tonight. Now, of the 3 Game 7s that are tonight, in my opinion, if there is a home team to lose, I think it will be the Clippers that lose. I picked the Clippers in a very tough 7-game series, and that's exactly the way it's gone so far. So I'm still going to give the slight edge to the Clippers tonight. I'm going to pick the Clippers to win tonight. But of the 3 home teams playing Game 7 tonight, in my opinion, if one of them loses, it will be the Clippers. But I'm still picking the Clippers to win tonight. Tomorrow, the Nets were able to avoid elimination at home in Game 6 against the Raptors and force a Game 7 in Toronto tomorrow. I picked the Nets to win. I believe it was in 6 games. It might have been 7. It might have been 7 because I remembered saying something about the Nets winning Game 7 in Toronto. I'm not going to change that. Now the crowd is really ready in Toronto. Obviously it's packed inside and there are thousands of people outside the arena watching it on big screen TV. So the Raptors fans are ready. But since I picked the Nets to win this series in 7, I'm going to stick with that. I'll say the Nets step up and do what they need to do and win Game 7 at Toronto tomorrow. And the reward for the winner of tomorrow's game, and I say it's the Nets, but even if it is the Raptors, they get to play the Heat and get wiped out. But, upsets happen every once in a while, so, you got to be in it to win it, so to speak. I'll say the Nets win Game 7 and then move on to get beaten by the Heat, even though the Nets beat the Heat all 4 times they played during the regular season. So, obviously that's going to give them confidence that if they beat the Raptors tomorrow, that they can beat Miami in a series. But it's one thing to beat LeBron 4 times in 6 months. It's a different thing to beat him 4 times in less than 2 weeks. And I don't see that happening. But I do see the Nets getting that opportunity to play the Heat by beating the Raptors in Game 7 tomorrow. And the 5th Game 7, which is tomorrow, Mavericks and the Spurs. Mavericks made a nice run at the end last night. It looked like the Spurs were going to win at Dallas and take the Mavericks out in 6. But the Mavericks made a nice run at the end on their home floor and were able to beat the Spurs and avoid elimination on their home floor. And Game 7 is tomorrow in San Antonio. Now, I definitely want the Mavericks to win because I'm not a Spurs fan at all, but I picked the Spurs to win. I believe it was in 6 games, but obviously it won't be in 6. But I believe the Spurs will knock out the Mavericks in Game 7 tomorrow. Even though I'm rooting for the Mavericks, I don't see the Spurs losing a Game 7 on their home floor. They're just too tough, too battle-tested, and on their home floor, I don't see the Spurs losing. And we almost had a sixth Game 7. The Blazers and the Rockets. And I believe it was Aldridge for the Blazers hit a 3 at the buzzer to beat the Rockets and end that series. So what's been an amazing first round so far, we have 5 Game 7s going on, 3 today, 2 tomorrow. And the Blazers and Rockets almost made it 6 Game 7s. But a good job by the Blazers. I said at the beginning, Rockets have a good team, but they're not ready to win the championship. I did think that the Rockets would beat the Blazers in 6 games, I think I said. I thought the Rockets would pull the first round out, but, I guess the Blazers are better than I thought, and they've played very well. The Rockets were a little inconsistent, and a great shot by Aldridge at the buzzer last night sends the Rockets home until next year. So we're going to deal with those 5 Game 7s. I'm excited. I'll be watching all 3 of them tonight and the 2 tomorrow, and we'll see what happens. Whoever wins the first one tonight, the Hawks and the Pacers, they will be playing the Washington Wizards, who I did not think would beat the Bulls. And not only did they beat the Bulls, they beat them pretty easily in 5 games. I thought it would kind of be reversed. The Bulls maybe in 5, possibly 6, but I obviously underestimated the Wizards. They're playing really well. And the winner of the Hawks-Pacers game tonight will get the Wizards in the second round. So we'll see how that is. I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to talk some about the draft, which is going to start Thursday night, and it goes Friday and Saturday as well. Number 1 pick, Houston Texans. Now, people are talking about Manziel because he's from that area, went to school at Texas A&M, right in that area. But I don't think that Manziel's going to go number 1. Jadeveon Clowney, he is a once every 10 years, maybe once in a generation type talent. And what the experts are saying, that it's overblown, him being lazy and taking plays off and whatever. It was just that he was getting a lot of double and triple teams. That's why his stats went down. But in the NFL, it's kind of hard to double and triple team somebody because that's going to leave players open to go after the quarterback. And it's different in the NFL. They're all professional. So they can't really afford to do many double teams on Clowney. So I think he's going to have a lot of one-on-ones. And if he's got the work ethic and gets the right coaching, and I'm assuming it'll be the Texans that are coaching him, he should be an all-pro for a long, long time. But, there's been a lot of guys in the past, couldn't miss, and they missed. So you never know. But I'm saying that the Texans will take Jadeveon Clowney number 1. Now the Rams are number 2, and it seems like they're going to be looking at the offensive tackle from Texas A&M, Jake Matthews. I've seen him play many times. I'm a big SEC fan, big LSU fan, and he is a stud. There's no doubt about it. I don't see how he could fail at the NFL level. But like I said, guys that seemed like they should dominate haven't. But the Rams also pick at number 13 as well, so they've got 2 and 13. And they've got some holes, and if they're going to stick with Bradford, obviously they're going to need some stud blocker in front of him, and obviously Jake Matthews would take that. And they're also picking at 13, and their defense is pretty solid. Their pass rush is good, and if they were to get a stud safety, they're talking about Clinton Dix from Alabama, maybe at that number 13 spot, people are saying. You could get a seemingly stud offensive lineman and a stud safety, free safety. With that Rams pass rush, obviously that's going to put pressure on the quarterback and give, safeties and corners opportunities to make plays. And I think that's a good idea. I think if I were the Rams, if I don't make any moves, I would take the offensive tackle at 2 and then at 13 go for a stud safety. So, and I think that's what they will do. So the Jaguars, they need help everywhere. I don't even know where to start. They don't have a quarterback. They don't have a defense. They lost Jones-Drew. They don't have a running back. You know, some guys are talking about Khalil Mack, the outside linebacker from Buffalo. I've heard people say he might be the next Lawrence Taylor, which I think is crazy because Lawrence Taylor is a once-in-a-lifetime type running back, and I know I'm a Giants fan, but I have never seen a linebacker play like Lawrence Taylor. He is the greatest linebacker of all time. I've never seen anybody that could play like him. So just let Khalil Mack get into the league first before we say he's the next Lawrence Taylor. He's never even stepped on an NFL field. So I wouldn't have a problem with the Jaguars picking him. I wouldn't have a problem with the Jaguars picking one of, the top quarterbacks, because they need help in a lot of different places. So they'll probably go for Mack, but quarterback wouldn't surprise me. They need something to get the fans excited, give Jacksonville hope that they're heading in the right direction. On to the Browns. The Browns pick at 4, and they also pick at 26. They might be the wild card in this whole thing. The Browns are kind of like the Jaguars. They've been down for a long time. They need some excitement. Now, Cleveland's a great football city, great fans, very passionate, but they really haven't had a quarterback since maybe Bernie Kosar in the 80s or something. It's been that long since they've had a good one. I think they're gonna make a splash at 4, assuming Manziel doesn't go before the number 4 pick. I think the Browns are going to take him at number 4 if there are no trades, and assuming Manziel is available at 4. I think the Browns are going to make that big splash. They don't have much of a quarterback. They don't have a lot of excitement. They've done a couple of good things during the offseason, a couple of good pieces. I think they're on the way up. But this would be real excitement, really get the Browns organization, the Browns fans, and the NFL even more excited. So I think if he's available, I think the Browns will go for Manziel at 4. And the Raiders, they're kind of dysfunctional. Number 5, the Raiders, they're dysfunctional. They probably need several things. I'm hearing from a lot of people, Sammy Watkins, the wide receiver from Clemson, to the Raiders at 5. That's what I would do. They're not super set at quarterback, so possibly maybe they could go for a quarterback, but I don't think so. Sammy Watkins is excellent. He's got the speed, the route running. He's got the every time I touch the ball, I could take it to the house type ability, and I think that's what they will do. Now, living down here in Atlanta, the Falcons pick 6, and I'm hearing several things. I'm hearing they may take, the stud tackle from Auburn, Greg Robinson, which I wouldn't have a problem with because, they've had some issues in pass protection for Matt Ryan. So, that wouldn't be the exciting pick, but I think it would be a good pick. But I'm hearing possibilities that they may trade up to try and get Clowney, because the Falcons, they were good 2 years ago, came close to making it to the Super Bowl. Last year was terrible, and I think they'll rebound from last year, even though I don't like the Falcons at all. I think they're a lot better than 4-12, and I think they'll improve. But they don't have any guy. I know Julio Jones is good, but they don't, and I've said that to my friends, they don't have excitement with the Falcons. Now, if they were to move up, make a big splash, and get Jadeveon Clowney, obviously that would make for a lot of excitement. Me personally, if I were them, I would not do it. I don't want to trade, picks in the first round, probably in the second round, maybe even a couple of more first and second round picks in the future to get Clowney. Now, I think Clowney's going to be good, really good, but I just wouldn't do it. But I'm hearing rumors that they might. I think if I were them, I would probably take Glenn Robinson or, maybe a stud defensive player, a pass rusher of some kind, because they had issues with that last year, not getting much of a pass rush. But we'll see. Number 7, Tampa Bay. I have heard rumors that if Manziel was available at 7, which I don't think he will be, but if he is, that they would take him. And, excuse me, they need something to make a splash as well in Tampa Bay, because they don't have anything really exciting down there. So maybe Tampa figures out a way to move up to get a Johnny Manziel, because, they need several things. And, I'm hearing wide receiver is big on their list. And there's a real good one that Johnny Manziel used to throw to, Mike Evans from Texas A&M, and that would be a good pick. We'll have to see if Mike Glennon is really a good quarterback for them. I don't know. But if Manziel somehow drops to 7, I think Tampa Bay is going to scoop him up. But I don't think he'll be there, and I think it's more likely that the Buccaneers will take Mike Evans from Texas A&M. He's a big wide receiver. He's like 6'5", 6'6". He can run. But the only issue I have with him is he always lines up on the right side. I don't know. Maybe try moving him around a little bit. He'd be even more effective, because the defense can just zero in on him on one side of the field. I like guys, he might be on the left side of the field this series, right side, next series, maybe even swing out of the backfield kind of, but mix it up a little bit. Don't make it so easy for the defense to figure out what you're doing. But I think that's what they'll do at number 7. They'll probably take Evans. Now the Vikings, they need a quarterback. I think they just declined the option on Christian Ponder, which is fine with me. He was never any good anyway. And, I don't think they really have much in terms of quarterback. I think Matt Castle is still up there, but except that one good year with New England when Brady got hurt, Castle hasn't done much. He got the big paycheck because of filling in for Brady that year and hasn't lived up to that money. I think the Vikings are going to take a quarterback. I don't think Manziel will be available there. So I think that they will take Blake Bortles, quarterback from Central Florida. He is the perfect stereotypical quarterback. He's like 6'4", 6'5", 230, 235, has a good arm, kind of quarterback that every team seems to want. So I think that's what the Vikings will do at 8. They'll take Bortles from Central Florida. Buffalo, at 9, I don't know. They need help. They don't have much at the quarterback position, so it might be smart for them to get a stud offensive lineman. They need help in several different places, but I think they're heading towards respectability. And I think if rumors that I'm hearing that Donald Trump might buy the Bills, I think he would spend the money and do whatever he had to do and make it more exciting for maybe a free agent or something to come to Buffalo, if that happens. But I think Buffalo, there's a good offensive tackle, Taylor Lewin from Michigan, and I think they'll probably lean that way, try and get some protection for Manuel or whoever they're going to have at quarterback, which isn't much. So I think they'll probably go for a good offensive lineman. And at 10, the Lions, they've got a pretty good defense. I'm hearing rumors that they may try and trade Ndamukong Suh. Me personally, I wouldn't. I mean, he's had his issues, but the guy is still a stud. So I wouldn't try and do that. But they've been kind of disappointing. Even on defense, they haven't done as well as people anticipated that they would. But I'm hearing about maybe they would take a linebacker from UCLA, Anthony Barr. He's a good one. I've seen him play. He's not in the SEC, so I haven't seen him 100 times, but he looks like he's pretty good. And if you added him to the Lions' defense, and they have Sue and Fairley rushing the passer with a really good linebacker to back them up, I could see them doing that. Now the last one, one of the last ones, my Giants, I got to throw in. They're picking at 12, and they're very light at the tight end position, so they might want to look for a good tight end, but I don't know. Man, Eli didn't play well last year, but I don't think it was the offensive line's fault. I think he just made some bad decisions and threw too many interceptions, a lot of which were his fault and not the receivers. I don't think it was because he was constantly under heavy pressure, because the line for the Giants has been together a while and they're solid. So if they think they're weak at tight end, all right, might not be the worst thing. I wouldn't mind, getting a good linebacker or a good pass rusher, because I don't think the Giants are getting enough, pressure on the quarterback. But me personally, I would probably look defense. But if they get a good tight end that can block well, but also catch passes, move the chains, I have no problem with that. I'm thinking that's what the Giants probably will do, get a tight end. And the Eric Ebron from North Carolina seems to be the best one of the group, so that's probably what the Giants will do, just draft him at tight end at 12. The last thing I wanted to mention is the New England Patriots. I'm not a Patriots fan at all. I don't root for any Boston teams. But my anticipation is that the Patriots will do what they always do. They will trade, most likely down, to get several picks. They pick at 29 this year. And, their defense has been a little weak the last couple of years. So I'm thinking if they stay at 29, they'll probably get the best pass rusher available. But I won't be surprised at all if they trade out of that, down from that pick and gather up 2 or 3 draft picks for that first round pick. But if they don't and they pick somebody at 29, I think in later rounds they will trade down, like maybe out of the second round, to get 2 or 3 third round picks or something like that. They always seem to stockpile these picks, and as good as they've been the last 10, 12 years, 14 years, whatever it is, that they've been to 5 Super Bowls and the playoffs every year, stockpiling these picks, they always seem to find the diamonds in the rough that a lot of other teams don't seem to get. So I anticipate them doing that, if not in the first round. In lower rounds, I anticipate them trading down to stockpile some extra picks. Well, I'm looking forward to it. Thursday night, Friday and Saturday also, but it starts Thursday night, 8 Eastern Time, the NFL Draft. I'm excited about it. 3 Game 7s in the NFL. 3 Game 7s in the NBA, starting at 5:30 Eastern on Saturday. I'm looking forward to all of them. And the 2 Game 7s on Sunday, in the NBA. Looking forward to it. I may or may not watch the fight. I probably won't, because in HD the fight is $75, and I think that's nuts. So I'll get the highlights and I'll watch the fight a month from now when it shows up on HBO or something like that. Well, that's about all I have right now. Enjoy the weather. Hopefully it's good wherever you are. It's a great sports weekend with the NBA. The National Hockey League playoffs are going on. The draft is coming up for the NFL Thursday night. Of course, baseball's going on. Didn't mention my Mets because they got clobbered the last 2 nights in Colorado. But, I'm still hoping they play respectably the rest of the year. But get out and have some fun. Watch the games. Enjoy whatever you're doing this weekend. Follow me at the Sportsocology Show on Twitter, Facebook. Go and subscribe to the show on YouTube. It'll let you know as soon as it comes on. Please do all those things. Have a great sports weekend and have a great weekend, whatever else you're doing. Thanks for listening to the show. I appreciate it. Eventually, someday, it'll be in video, and you'll get to see what I look like. You'll see that I have an awesome face for radio. That's what my friends, seem to tell me, even my wife. So with friends and a wife like I have, I don't need enemies, right? But that'll be sometime in the future. But I appreciate you listening. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you next time, America, wherever you are.